We continue our interviews with gubernatorial candidates for Kentucky this year with Democrat Geoff Young. Mr. Young, thanks for being with us today.
Thank you for inviting me.
You bet. First of all, give us some background on who you are, sir.
Okay. I'm 66 years old. I was born in Massachusetts, grew up there, liberal democratic Jewish family, went to MIT and majored in economics, had a couple of courses with Noam Chomsky, who taught me about U.S. foreign policy after World War II. And ever since then, I have been an anti-war activist part-time and carefully kept up to date with all foreign affairs,
Okay.
all the illegal, unjust, immoral wars we've been involved in.
And what have you done career-wise, sir?
After World War II. Pardon me?
What have you done career-wise, sir?
I worked for 15 years in Frankfurt in the Energy and Environment Cabinet. Started out as a staff engineer and became the assistant director of the Kentucky Energy Office, which was a very small office dedicated to improving energy efficiency in all sectors of Kentucky's economy.
Okay, thank you. Your website says that you believe Andy Beshear is the worst Kentucky governor in the past 100 years. Why?
Well, two reasons. One, that he totally mismanaged Kentucky's response to the COVID-19 situation starting in 2020, very soon after he was sworn in. He believed all of the big pharma propaganda and lies and went with all of the dangerous, unhealthy recommendations coming from the federal government, Dr. Fauci and various other agencies. I would not have done any of that. His lockdown severely damaged Kentucky's economy, and the vaccines have simply not been proven safe and effective. Pharmaceutical companies lied. Pfizer and Moderna should get the corporate death penalty for falsifying their safety and effectiveness data. So he was simply unwilling to consider that the skeptics of these particular vaccines had anything to say.
Mm-hmm.
And I would have been very open to the recommendations from all sides of the scientific debate, and I would not have stressed vaccines at all. I would have stressed natural immunity, early treatment using well-proven drugs such as ivermectin, zinc, vitamin D, and I would simply have rejected everything coming from the federal government in terms of health policy.
Your website also says you know what Kentuckians need. What do you think Kentuckians need, sir?
They need honest government, and they need the end of corruption. Corruption is probably Kentucky's biggest problem, and I think that it's worst in the judicial branch. We have too many judges who routinely violate the rules of civil procedure, and the appellate courts, the Court of Appeal and the Kentucky Supreme Court, are totally corrupt. I agree with Eric Dieters on that point. He's one of the 12 Republicans running for governor this year. So we have to reform the entire Kentucky legal system and get rid of a fairly large number of totally corrupt judges.
You
What I
mentioned,
mean by corrupt is that they routinely dismiss well pleaded, valid complaints before discovery, let alone before trial. And that should almost never happen.
you mentioned another candidate. While other candidates are seeking to abolish Kentucky state income tax, you want to eliminate Kentucky's sale tax. Why
That's
do you want to
right.
go?
Yeah,
Why do you want to go in a different direction?
the Republican, actually, it's not just the Republicans. I think Pepe Martin, one of the other Democrat, wants to eliminate the income tax. Doing that is regressive. It hurts the poor, it hurts working people, and it benefits the super rich. Kentucky is a poor state, and our unjust, regressive tax system is one of the reasons. We should be taxing the rich, not the poor and working people.
Okay. You also support the legalization of cannabis. Is this strictly for medicinal purposes, or do you also support legalizing recreational marijuana use?
Total legalization like alcohol.
Okay.
And probably it should be sold by the state. The state should be in New Hampshire, they've got state alcohol liquor stores. Why doesn't Kentucky have state marijuana stores? It would improve our budget deficits, which we're not supposed to have, and it would also get organized crime out of that particular part of the drug business.
Speaking of state involvement, you also support a state bank in Kentucky. Why?
Right. Very important. North Dakota has a state bank, and other states are starting to experiment with that idea. It would basically receive all the tax dollars coming in, and would also receive investments from citizens, deposits, and in turn loan that money out to small businesses, not huge multinational corporations, but small local businesses. I envision a cooperative commonwealth, and credit unions are another part of that future for Kentucky.
Okay, we're just about out of time. Any other things you wanted to say to the voters?
Yeah. I'm about to file a ballot challenge against Andy Beshear today in Frankfurt because he and the Kentucky Democratic Party have blatantly rigged this primary. It's illegal in Kentucky to do that. And if the judge follows the law, obeys the law, then Andy Beshear's name will be stricken from the ballot before primary election day. None of the votes cast for him will count. They'll all be thrown out.
Okay, we will see how that turns out. Thank you for your time, Mr. Young.
Thank you.
Hey everybody, Gene Birk here. Thanks for checking out our interviews with candidates running for Kentucky governor. Be sure to check out our full coverage of this year's primary in Kentucky at WBKO.com.